Okay, are we up here? Hang on a second. I'm trying to change a reservation for a party this morning at the same time here. Changed. Right. Good morning, gang. Good morning, gang. Good morning, gang. Sunday morning here in Tokyo. Sunday morning here in Tokyo. Slight drizzle outside. We've got the doors open. It's very, very cool this morning. Don't anticipate to go and have to put the air conditioner on. Very peaceful today. Yesterday was insane. Today, I hope it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. The TV filming, they tell me, is finished. They came Tuesday, Friday, and they were here again all day Saturday. They left last night, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I'll let you know when the broadcast is, but again, it's not going to be something we can see overseas. So, okay, what have we got today? Today, I can take off the patch here. The woman is gone. There's just a bit of octopus left, so we're okay. I'm going to try and finish off this block today. So as usual, the recent pattern, what we've been doing, there'll be a small amount of persuading here first this morning to clean away the rough oceans here. Then I'll be trimming around the outside. There's no way that's going to be an hour and a half's work. So I've got a couple of other things. I do need to trim more around the outside, but that's very heavy, noisy work, so I'm not sure. But I also have a little bit of show and tell this morning. We got another package yesterday, another package. Somebody brought something over for us. So if it's cool by you, if it's okay by you, we'll do a bit of show and tell. They're fairly small. It might be difficult to see, but we'll try and get it. Anyway, let's do a bit of work. First part will be noisy. Excuse me again. It's damp again today. Anytime it gets damp outside, I seem to get a bit of a cough thing here. So. Okay, 4 or 5 minutes of hammering, and then some quiet work. Who's here this morning? Not all the familiar names. Some people are taking the day off. The microphone. Let's move the microphone just a bit farther away. Okay, enough noise for a minute. Let's go to the quiet part. Here we go. Bring the mic back closer. Okay. Okay. So again, this is the process. As you can see, it's 3 stages. Again, you know, I sort of have to keep explaining it because I've always got new people here. Cutting these blocks, it's actually step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1 was actually cutting the line. You can see it's done here. Step 1 is the cutting of the line, usually on the whole block with the knife. Step 2 is taking away the oceans with the larger chisels. And step 3, what we're doing now, is cleaning up the flat surfaces and then coming like this up against the lines. So you end up with a finished clean surface for printing. So the work always proceeds for color blocks, the work always proceeds in these 3 stages. I've got the door open this morning, the front door, so you're going to hear all the different sounds of people going back to the sidewalk. So I guess a tourist with a trolley suitcase, I guess, just went by, I'm not sure. Too wide. Today being Sunday here in Tokyo, Sunday morning, there'll be nobody else coming in here. There'll just be me. Cameron's off on Sundays always. And the boys should be here around 9:15, 9:20, somewhere in there. So the persuader is okay now, eh? Good, good, good. This is the fourth face that I've done now on this print, the Octopus print. So it's 2 pieces of wood used so far, both sides, giving 4 faces. That's a halfway. There's 2 more pieces of wood with 4 more faces. I'm not halfway through the work. I'm way more than halfway through the work, because the most difficult blocks are done, the most time-consuming blocks, the key block and one of the seaweed blocks are done. So before I can proceed, I don't have another piece of wood ready, so it'll be, if I get time tonight, actually, I'm going to try and get that done. Get another piece of wood glued up. We've got the raw wood upstairs. But it hasn't been glued down, so I've got to make it up. This is really not a good way to do it. The idea of preparing a wood block and then starting carving right away, it's inconceivable when we're working with raw wood. You can't plane a block and get it ready and then start carving right away. The wood has to season and dry. But it's not so bad for us. The wood upstairs is already sliced into a thin shape. It's been drying for quite a while, so it's already fairly stable. And then because I'll be gluing it down onto a plywood substrate, it doesn't have much chance to bend and warp and twist. So we can get it under these circumstances. But it really isn't best. The idea would be to have a stable of wood blocks all prepared upstairs, shelves and shelves full of wood blocks in different sizes and different types. And then for each job, I'd go up to the wood storage room and I'd pick and choose what I wanted for each job. That would be the ideal situation. And maybe, who knows, maybe one day we'll get there, but it's going to take a while. At the moment, it's always just a firefighting situation. You're preparing the materials for the job right there that same day. And that's not so good, not a good way to do it. It's raining out there again today. I think this is advanced rain from a typhoon that's coming, I think. I'm not sure. I didn't check the weather report. Soka, typhoon on Tuesday, going to get hit. I haven't noticed it. I'm sorry, I haven't checked the. You say we, you mean Japan, or you mean Tokyo, or you mean Asakusa? The show and tell that I got for this morning is good fun, It's something that came in yesterday. It's one of the real cool parts about this job. Every day you don't know what's going to happen. There isn't, a wonderful surprise every day, but yesterday's was really nice, really nice. Stuff just keeps coming around and around. Once you get something started, it's sort of snowballs. And any one of these items that I'm going to show you by itself would be nothing, but when you see them together and things start to add up, that's when it gets to be really fun. It's the Sunday morning crew, Soka, eh? So they've been in the coffee shop over there. They tried to do some of their street cleaning, Sunday morning street cleaning, but because of the rain, I guess no big deal. So they just sat and chatted in the coffee shop, I suppose, I guess. They're dispersing now bit by bit. Speaking about that coffee shop across the street reminds me, I was standing outside yesterday for a while, in between stuff, and a young Yamaguchi walked by, and he's the guy who runs the what he called the world's smallest theater next door, and he says it's a lie, and I guess it's a lie, but it doesn't matter, they advertise it as the world's smallest theater. It's in the building 2 doors down from us. It's a really narrow building, even narrower than ours. And up on the second floor, they've got a little stage and some seating, and they do vaudeville type stuff, comedians slapping each other on the shoulder and telling jokes and stuff like that. You know, who was that lady I saw with last night? That was no lady, that was my wife. I mean, it's really, it's Japanese, of course, but it's really old-fashioned type of stuff. It's mostly young guys who go there. They're hoping to be seen and be recognized and get on TV and stuff. Anyway, that's another story. But chatting with Yamaguchi, he's one of the older guys on the street, knows everything that's going on. In the building next to him, the other way around, so it's 3 doors down from me, it had been an old gentleman living there. He was a tax accountant. He died just about the time I came here 4 years ago, and the building sat empty. I guess he became ill about that time. The building sat empty until earlier this year when he must have died, and his family, whatever, either sold it off or leased it off, I don't know. And it became renovated for a new business. And we watched the renovations. They were happening at the same time our renovations were going on. And they happened much more quickly. We took about 5 months to renovate our shop. And those guys did that one in the space of, I don't know, a week or so. I don't know exactly, whatever. And it's a much smaller space than us. It's basically like a 6-mat or 8-mat room on the ground floor, then a 6-mat room upstairs. Some group, I guess a Korean family or something, rented it. It was hugely expensive. We saw the real estate listings for it. It was 540,000 yen per month, which is about $5,000 US dollars per month, and it's a tiny little space. And they prepared, and they put the sign up one day, and it said healthy Korean temple food and sweets. And we're like, wow, good, this is something that's going to be fun for the street. And a little bit concern for us is they were selling it at a booth in front of the shop. So they were trying to sell it for takeaway. People would buy these sweets, whatever format it was going to be, and then walk away, walk down the street. So those of us who have other businesses were a little bit nervous about that, because you don't want people walking in your own shop who are, licking an ice cream cone or whatever kind of sweet this was going to be. But anyway, we don't start with hostility. We just see how it's going to go, see what happens. So one day they opened. It must have been about, I don't know, was it a month ago? Yeah, I think I talked about it in the stream. But I'd been over there. They put the sign up, so I went over there to see what they had, if I could have something for lunch. And they had a kind of a thing like a norimaki, the seaweed rolls we have here in Japan. Maybe in America they call them California rolls or something. They put avocado inside there. And it looked really nice, looked cheap, so I ordered one. The girl just gave it to me. She said, "Oh, you're a neighbor of ours, right here. Take a couple of these, share it with your staff. We're glad to be your neighbors, and let's get to know each other, and blah, blah, blah. Here, take this service." So I'm, thank you very much. Whatever. I came back, we ate it. It was okay. Nice light taste. It wasn't super spicy like a lot of Korean food is. And whatever, no problem. We enjoyed it. This would have been on a Monday, and then Wednesday or Thursday, the shutter was closed. They weren't there. Next day, Friday, the shutters closed. They weren't there. So I was chatting with some of the neighbors, I guess they're still in preparation stage. They're still, getting their gear ready. That was just a little test or something in the first few days they opened, And from that time to this, it's been shut. The shutter has never once again been open. We haven't seen the people around. And every now and then I'd be chatting with the neighbors and say, well, what's going on? Have they, decided to delay their opening or something, or what's happening, or what's going on? I don't know. And then yesterday, a bunch of people came in and out of there, real estate agents showing people the property. And we're like, what? They were only open for like 3 days. So I was really curious about this. What's going on? Is there a terrible backstory here? Maybe the Yakuza gave them a shakedown or something and it didn't work out. What's going on? I have no idea. Anyway, long story short, today I met Yamaguchi-san, who's sort of one of the dons of the street and knows pretty much everything that's going on. He's their neighbor directly. And he said what they decided, they opened for 3 days, and they said basically nobody bought anything, so they decided to cut their losses in a run, and they shut down. And I'm like, what? After 3 days, a new restaurant, you decide to give up business because nobody bought your stuff? And he said, yeah, they just cut and run. I was astonished to hear that. How long does it take to set up a new shop or a new business in any field? 3 years and you're okay, I guess, or something like that, When we moved here, we were thinking, not expecting to make money, whatever. We were just trying to see if we could survive, and after a year or 2 years or something, I signed a 3-year lease at the beginning. Yeah, that was it. That restaurant took 3 days. I'm even not sure it was it might have been 2 days or 3 days. And then they cut and run. Maybe financially that's a good idea, but my God, that's all the test you're going to give the community. You spend all that money building it for a 2-day test? So I feel a bit sad now that I didn't enthusiastically run back the very next day after she gave me that sample and buy some more. And maybe that's what she's thinking, oh my God, we gave them all this stuff and they didn't come back and buy more the next day. So it's empty again and people are looking it over. 3 days. Typhoon, typhoon, typhoon. Did Dave get anything from the carving bench guy who stopped by again? Today's show and tell. Hang on a few minutes. Let me just clean up the rest of this stuff here. Today's show and tell is again from Harada-san, the guy who gave me the carving bench. I don't remember what I showed you. Last week he came and brought some wood blocks. We measured them up, paid him for them. We got some wood blocks. And it seems he's still cleaning up because yesterday he brought a couple of small things, which made me just, what if, let me finish it, no, a bit more here. So it's going to be a bit deeper there, a bit too shallow. It's a nice soundscape out there today. A little bit of drizzle, drip, drip, drip. People walking by on wet pavement. It's Sunday morning, so there's no commercial traffic. But I think maybe we're okay here for now on this one. Let's zoom out a bit, have a look at what's happening. Coming together. I think it's safe for work now. She's gone. All we have left is a bit of octopus skin. What is he doing? Who knows? Use your imagination. Okay, the central part of this is now done. The lines were incised, the ocean's cut, the continental shelf smoothed. Before we can print this, and in fact, well, I'm going to do more today, this has to be cleared away. The usual rule for us when we're clearing, different printers, you ask for different printers, they'll say, Yubi Nihon, Got yubi sanbon. Yubi is a finger. And ippon, nihon, sanbon. And how far do you go clearing away? You'll see a printer that says, I want yubi nihon. The width of 2 fingers before you cut it out. Ourselves here in this workshop, absolutely. We are a yubi sanbon level. So if that's where the cutting is, then I want to take my clearing to about that level. Yubi sanbon. What is it? About 5 centimeters. And again, it'll vary. And there's a really funny twist to that. Because back when I was carving my own and printing my own and doing work all just by myself, let me zoom out a bit more here, it was a question of handedness. The registration mark is here, the paper goes down on the block, and then I start rubbing. And I'm left-handed. So for me, as I would have been rubbing this octopus here, my baron would move, and because I'm left-handed, look at this, it comes straight down here easily. So I wouldn't need too much clearance here because I can see it as I'm printing. The rubbing tool is here, I can see this line. So for me, 2 would have been just fine here. But the blocks come down to be printed by a right-handed person. He's going to print this head like this. And he's going to bang his baron into this area. So for a right-handed printer, he needs more clearance here and all the way down here. So we'll be cutting at least 3 fingers here. Because even though I'm going to print this thing first, printing like this, just coming up to this point, the blocks will later be used by right-handed people, bang, 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 bang. And we've had this problem all the way along in the last few years, because all the carving I did, all over the years I was working by myself, the Surimono albums, those blocks are now being used by our printers here for prints to go into the shop. And they're all done with me. I didn't even think about this difference. I didn't even imagine it. I just cut what I needed to clear so that I could print properly, not realizing that I was cutting a left-handed shape in the blocks. So lots of times now, in fact, Ishikawa-san yesterday, she brought one of the blocks she's printing, she brought it down. Dave, could I clear out in a bit of a different area? And it was the same kind of thing as we're seeing here. Because she's right-handed, her tool was bashing into places that I hadn't cleared out. It's interesting, we usually think about printing as an ambidextrous or left and right neutral thing, but it's actually not. The way we apply pressure is very much in accordance with the shape of your arms and the way muscles are built. So anyway, I'm going to have to clear more, and I'll be doing that this morning. What is it now? It's 8:30 now. I got a bit of show and tell for you, but it's not a 1-hour show and tell. So I'll show you some prints, and then I'll come back here and do some more persuading. Let me get this out of the way here. Now this is going to be a mix of zooming in close, zooming and zooming out, zooming and zooming out, because what he brought to me. Okay, before I show you what he brought yesterday, Harada-san, are we up to date? Am I caught up on here? Okay, hi. Yeah, I haven't finished that, fixed that redirect yet. Okay, before I show you what he brought, I don't have my own personal collection here. It's all back in Oma, but I've got odds and ends here we've brought over the time. I'm just going to grab a few small prints here. I got these ready this morning to show you an example of the kind of thing we're going to talk about today. Nice stuff. Thousands and thousands of nice things. These are little prints here. Let's just put them on. It doesn't really matter which way up we're looking at them. The general phrase that people use for talking about these prints is match label prints, match-label prints. They're about the size of when I was a kid growing up. We used to collect little matchbox cards. And when there were such things as boxes with matches inside, there were decorative things on top. And here in Japan, in the early days of color printing, not woodblock printing, but in the early days of color printing back in the Meiji and Taisho, matchboxes for people to smoke were printed with labels and stuff, most of them by offset printing. But a tradition came out of making small prints like this. And where do I start to explain them? What you're seeing here is a random collection of them. They were made for groups of people who had a circle, a group. It might have been a poetry group, it might have been a community group, it might have been a mountain climbing club. Anytime you got people who were in a group activity doing things together, and we're talking about now the pre-war period, this is the teens and the 20s and the 30s when these things were made. You get a mountain climbing group, whatever. They do their hiking thing once a month or something. Then they decide, okay, we're going to take the group, or we're going to go somewhere special. We've never been before. Let's climb mountain such and such, and make a big deal about it. They make a weekend expedition. They get their stuff ready. They attack this mountain, Bandai or whatever it is, and go and come back. So that was their special activity for this summer's season. And what they might have done then in commemoration of it is they get together, the 12 people or 20 people or 30 people in the club, and they get some sketches from some of the members, and they send an order to a local woodblock printmaking workshop for a set of commemorative little labels. And like I said, these ones here, they're random, but if you imagine a set of labels, and it would have the date on, and one would be a picture of the mountain, next would be a picture of guys with backpacks, next would be a picture of people drinking around a campfire. They would do it like this. They would get some artists to design 8 little images, and they would have the club name and the date and stuff like that. And they would have this ordered by a woodblock printmaking workshop, and they'd get back 100 sheets, whatever, chop them all up and give them to each of the members. Little tiny match label prints. It was a real big deal to collect them and to make them and stuff like that. Like I said, in the teens, 20s, and 30s. Sometimes it would be quite extensive. I've got a collection of a bit of them here. This, I think I showed this. That's why this is here in Osaka, because I showed this particular group to you before. This was a group made 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16 of them at a time, and the group for some reason was designing and drawing things all on the subject of strength. So each of the group members, a guy holding this, two frogs doing sumo, whatever. Every of one of the pictures here was tied around the idea of strength. Anyway, these are the objects we're talking about, these small match label prints. They are beautifully, beautifully, beautifully made. This is not classic, wonderful ukiyo. Let's zoom in and see some of these. But they are made with nice and elegance and taste. I don't know if you can see this one. Can you see, for example, if I get under the light just right, there is a pattern, a paper pattern carved. It's going to be difficult to shoot. Can you see it? There it is. There it is. There it is. There's a Nuno Mezuri pattern there. It's carved. There's no reason for them to do that. They're just trying to dress up the image a little bit. And I don't know what this one. This is, it says, congratulations, 5 years have passed, and there's 5 gold coins. I don't know what the event was. They've done something 5 years ago, and they've published a couple of small prints in commemoration of it. I should have prepared a bit more carefully for today's stream, but as I said, this is all happening. Here's another one. This is Goshunen. Oh, I wonder if that's the same 5 years have passed. Yes. These are from the same group. Wow, look at that. We found a match here. Again, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to present you the finished research. The point being is to introduce you to the genre. That there were such a thing as match label prints. They were published extensively during that era. Why am I here today to talk about it? Because in the batch of blocks that Harada-san brought over again yesterday, yeah, 5 birds, name. So they're full of all fun. I should try and figure out what that one was for. Anyway. We've got some blocks here for some of these things. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks here. What I don't have to show you, and I may even have these back in my Oma collection, I don't have the prints that go with these things. We're going to hunt that up and see if I can find some examples. But here we are. I'll need to zoom in and out, whatever. For the moment, there's a registration mark here. Look at these two. This is something separate. Forget that for the moment. These two. You can see what we've got here. We've got a kabuki actor on, what's the thing they call it? A shuttlecock, like that thing they use for playing badminton. This is ceremonial. And then there's a character, I don't know if you can see it, there's an umbrella above his head, and he's beating a drum. It looks like some kind of, I think he's an advertising guy, because I think on his back he's got something, it's some kind of sign. And I would imagine this is a Chindonia member. Chindonia is those little groups who walk down the streets playing music to advertise a new theater play or something, or a new woodblock print shop that's opened, or whatever. So there we have, there's the key block for those two designs, an actor and a guy banging a drum. We have also over here, here's the same registration marks, and you can see the outline of that. And so this is the block for what looks like it was a gray background. The guy banging the drum and the actor. Flip it over, and yeah, here we go. This is the same thing. This is part of the actor's clothing, his hat, and you can see there's part of the guy's umbrella. There's even characters written on it here. I haven't even tried to decipher this yet. The other side, a green block, part of the bat, more of the umbrella, two different colors. The umbrella must be red and green. And over again we have here, the drum and part of the suit is yellow. And again, I don't know if this is a whole set enough to make the print, but my God, when we get a few minutes here to try sometime over the next few days, we are going to have a go at printing some of these. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that may be the full set for doing that little pair of prints. Now on the back of this, actually here too, that wouldn't have used the whole block. So sometime later, there's one little tiny registration mark set here. Some kind of scene. Look at that. I see a house, I see trees. And on the back of it, we have what are they? Tokyo scenes. I see a bridge. I see another bridge. These are beautifully, beautifully carved. And I don't think we have a matching set for that. We have one more that seems to have the underneath of the bridge. There's that same street scene. There's that same street scene. That might be the same scene. I haven't actually calculated this and worked them all out. So we are going to have a go at trying to print some of these. I doubt very much that they have the whole set here, but we'll have a go at trying to print these. Anyway, this is all warm-up because the main event is something along this line, but a little bit different. When he brought this to me yesterday, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He brought a nice block, the full key block for a set of 12 of these. Now what it seems to be, we haven't really intensively studied this yet. What it seems to be is a set of scenery blocks. I'm not sure exactly what the theme tying them all together is. They all seem to have a mountain. This one clearly is Mount Fuji. This one is a mountain that seems to be actually exploding. That mountain is quiet. There's a river scene with a mountain in the background. That bridge, that's the famous bridge at Nikko. So this is not a series about Mount Fuji. Here's something, there's some smoke or whatever flowing up. But this in itself, this is interesting, but what's much, much, much more interesting is this. That's the key block. We don't have a full set of color blocks for this because I tell you, they didn't exist because the project didn't go. We have a partially cut color block. We have a color block where the transfers have been made. It's been pasted down onto the wood. Harada-san has carved the outlines, step 1 that we just told you a few minutes ago, and he has not yet moved on to step 2, clearing the oceans and going along the outside. And I've never, ever, ever had the chance to see something like this before. There it is. There's that bridge we said, the famous bridge at Nikko. His knife, if I look under the scope, his knife has cut these and clearing hasn't been done. There's also, you can see the place names are now here. So there must have been another block done. That key block would have been done in a light gray. And then the place names must have been saved for a blacker, richer, blacker block. And actually, it could be that what this is the block that's going to be that black block, because he started carving the ni in Nikko. And maybe the bottom of that bridge there, yes, it's a black, it's red lacquer. I don't even remember. I'll have to take a look at this. So this block that we're looking at, this might be the block for the black highlights. Yes, this mountain has sort of part of the lava flowing down. Maybe that's black. So look at this, you can see there's an eruption or steam or something like this. It could be a series on volcanic mountains in Japan. Towada, it is. There's Towada in Hokkaido. Where's my finger here? I'm reading backwards here. It'll be a series on volcanic activity in Japan. Mount Fuji, of course, too. It's not, what have we got? We've got steam coming up here. So maybe this is the steam from Owakudani or something, I don't know. What does it say? It says Fuji. This one says, it's backwards and upside down. Gyoraku. I'm not sure, I can't read it. Gyoraku. Is there a place near Mount Fuji that's still erupting? Don't know, have to do some research here. I was looking at this yesterday, especially I was looking at this place where he's carved under the, you probably can't see it, but remember the thing you're seeing as red here, it's not going to be red in the finished print. The thing you're seeing is red. It's just the area where this particular color block will be a color. It might be green, it might be blue, it might be black. As I said, my first guess, you're looking at it might be a black block, but I don't know, I have to figure it out. But for me, the cool part is seeing. I was testing this yesterday. I looked at this, I put it under the scope, I put my knife in. I'm not going to muck with this, but I put my knife in gently to see how deep he cut. And my God, it's cut shallow. There's two things really different compared to mine. One is it's shallow, he's cutting much more shallowly. And two, the bevel on his knife is much more acute. And you've seen the video of me and carver Ito-san, right? We're talking about the same thing. Ito-san's knife is carved at much more of a acute bevel than mine, much more breakable, but much less disruptive to the wood. And clearly, I think after I made that video about Ito-san, I told you I sharpened one of my knives more delicately and I made that print with fine hair. But since the time since then, I've been sharpening. It's been gradually regressing to a rougher shape, to a thicker bevel. This is really not good. I'm looking at this now, reminds me. I've got to focus again on getting my carving much more delicate. What's the comments here? I can't read it all. Blah, 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 blah. That's just newspaper stuck to the block. You mean on the other side? There was some, yeah. What he had done was, this is newspaper. After this side was carved, they did some test printing for transfer, and then in order not to damage it, well, they did the other side. Obviously, they pasted down newspaper. When Harada-san brought it to me yesterday, he torn it off. So just a bit of newspaper is left around the corners. But yeah, nothing dramatic. Newspaper would have been pasted down to protect it while I started carving this. And there must be at least another one more face, and maybe two more faces. Whether he has those or not, I don't know. He's pretty much now brought me everything he has, I think. So I doubt very much we'll be able to do this. But whatever, should we recreate this? Should we carve it again? I'm not going to carve this block. I'm going to keep this block exactly as it is. Exactly as it is. Okay, a couple of questions I can see. I use highlighter from my blocks, right? You've seen me do this. I use yellow highlighter. The main reason I do this is because this isn't water-based, and if you use quite a lot of it, blah, 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 the paper doesn't start to swell and shrink and distort. in the old days, and even up to this, you're seeing a faint pink. What they're using is, he's got a brush, an actual fude brush, but instead of using black sumi pigment, they use a vermilion, light vermilion. That's why we see red. We saw it in the Hasui video I showed you a few months back. Hasui doing the color block transfers was using a shuido, vermilion color. It really stands up. The carver can see it really easily. Remember, you're looking at something now. This is going to be, when did Harada-san die? Somewhere around the time I was born. So this is at least 60 years old. So the paper has toned and faded. It would have been quite sharp and easy to see back in the era when he was carving this. So there's lots to study here. We'll have to get this scanned at a high resolution, put it under the scope, take a few pictures. And my friend Doi-san, he's done lots of research on these type of prints. We'll get him to try and figure out who might have made this, who might have commissioned it. When Harada-san was here yesterday afternoon, I asked him, Harada-san, this is a stopped project. Do you know, was it canceled or something? He says, how do I know? I was like 7 years old when my dad died. He didn't know anything about this. So there's two ways to look at this. This could be simply a project that had been started and that was just canceled for some business reason, or it could perhaps be maybe this is the thing that was on his desk when he just got too old and or too sick to continue. If you want to play the dramatic, melodramatic game, this is Harada-san's last unfinished work. So there's not much more to the story here. There are more of the blocks in this little box, and what we've got to do, of course, is try printing some of these. What did I just do with the other blocks here? I can't really print this one because I don't want to mess this one up, but the other ones I just showed you, the ones about that bridge scene, or the actor and the drum, we've absolutely got to try printing some of those to see what they look like. The blocks, they're nearly totally unused. Remember, prints, different from commercial prints, in the Edo era or even Meiji, Taisho, whatever, when they're making woodblock prints, the purpose was commercial. You made a ton of prints and you sold them and you kept selling them and you made some more and you sold some more. It was a commercial business, But stuff like this was a non-commercial proposition. I can't say non-commercial. The woodblock workshop made them, got paid for them, and out they went. But it was the people who were sponsoring it paid enough to have the blocks carved and a bunch printed, then that was it. They were not printed and sold and printed and sold and printed and sold. So all these blocks, they've been used for making, like, I don't know, whatever it is, 50 prints or 100 prints, enough for the first group. And then that was it. So these lines are clean and clear and sharp. I mean, these blocks have just barely even been warmed up. Absolutely barely warmed up. They were all, commissioned, print your X number of copies, and then that's it. And I guess, sad story, most of the blocks for these kind of things must have been just really simply tossed out or thrown away. There are occasions when they might have been planed down and you use the thinner leftover to make another set, but even that, it wouldn't really be necessary. These are small pieces of wood, not expensive. Cut it, make your copies, toss them out, get paid for it. So they're kind of like miniature surimonos, You can see how it lines up. There's the key block, and there's the background block for this. If we turn it around, there's the guy's decoration. Flip it over, there's the background gray block that goes around. Turn it around again, and there's the bottom area of this thing. That looks like it might be complete. We'll see. We'll give it a go. Anyway, enough of this. I've got to do a bit of work here back on that block. But I just had to share this with you. I know it's really, really rare for us to get a chance to look at stuff that was a work in progress. We see finished blocks, we see finished prints, we never ever, almost never ever get a chance to see stuff that is partly under construction. And there's so much for us workers to learn from this part. There's, in the Victoria and Albert Museum in Britain, there's a bunch of tracings from making prints from a Hokusai series. Some publisher in Hokusai started a series about prints for the Hyakunin issue, the 100 Poets. Maybe it didn't sell well, whatever. They cut the project part way through. And there's some leftover tracings that were ready for carving that didn't get carved. They're in the Victoria and Albert Museum. And because the project was cancelled, it allows us to see the process steps that we don't normally see in the world of printmaking. And this block is an absolute treasure for me. You've heard me say this same thing many, many times. This is not gloriously famous ukiyo-e, but my God, we can learn. People like me, we can learn so much from this. So much from this. Harald-san was here yesterday. He said, I brought you those bigger blocks last week, and you said you were interested. And he said, I found this stuff at the back of the closet. I thought about just, should I throw them out or no, whatever. I get some time. Let's go over to Dave's place and see if he wants it. So he almost freaking threw this away yesterday, and I didn't get angry at him, but I vividly told him, I don't care anything. You get a bag of scrap wood that's carved off your dad's bench. I don't care what it is. Everything you've got left from that stuff, show me. There is no such thing for me as garbage. Any little scrap of paper that you've got, bring it to me. Show me, because you don't know what it is, and I do what it is. I do know what it is. So he said, yeah, okay, I'll be back tomorrow. So he's coming again this afternoon. And he's got nothing big, nothing major, nothing dramatic. It's whatever's got left over now gets down to the really small stuff that was in the back of drawers and things like that. So there isn't going to be any big dramatic revelations, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me put this away. We've got so much. This stuff needs to be scanned, it needs to be photographed, it needs to be YouTube talked about. It's just, there isn't enough time. If I had 6 freaking clones here. Alright, now the part that everybody loves to hate. Back to the persuader to make some more noise, to finish off Yubi Sambon on this block, as we were talking about a few minutes ago. So there really isn't going to be much interesting left on this stream now today. It's from here on in, it's going to be quite noisy. I'm switching to my wide chisel. With the persuader, I'm going to move my hand back to the end. Move my mic farther away again. And for the rest of today's stream, we're going to make a bunch of noise. Okay, to round you off before, for those of you who are going to leave now, I'll be back here tomorrow. This is Sunday morning here in Asakusa. I'll be back here tomorrow morning, Monday morning, for the last stream of the week. Tuesdays as our off day. And I'm really not quite sure what tomorrow's stream is going to be about. As I said, I haven't finished making the next blank block. So perhaps tomorrow's stream will be upstairs on the 3rd floor. I'll be cutting a piece of cherry, gluing it, laminating it, putting it into our press. And if that's the case, that'll be a short stream too. Let's make some noise. John, who's today's sponsor? Do we have to do this? Is this a new thing? Who's today's sponsor? I thought I was going to finish it before we... Whoops. Hang on a sec. It is right here, actually. Here it is. Here it is. Today's stream brought to you by Choco Chip Scone, Machi Cafe, Coffee, Meats, Sweets. Toast するとさらに美味しい。やけどに注意。Okay? Thanks, John. And away we go. quick time. Sorry about that. I gotta move the camera back there. Okay. It's really starting to rain out there now. That has mixed, mixed results for our business here on the walk by. It's raining. There's fewer people walking down the street out there. Am I still shaking the camera? No, I fixed it. Sure. There's fewer people walking down the street out there, so there's less traffic. But the ones who are working need a place to get out of the rain. So when they see a shop, they'll come in. There was one yesterday. I was sitting here at my computer. I can sort of the window, front window is fairly thin, and a couple came. They're Australians, pretty big voice, and they stood outside looking inside for a minute. I didn't say anything or gesture, whatever, but I heard her say, "What do you think? Do you think it's air conditioned?" I said, "I don't know." And then they came in. So as they opened the door, I said, "Nice and cool, right?" She looked at me like, "What?" Oops, off the on Still in view. You beat sound, sure. You get it pretty flat with this chisel. There's a good wide area on it. Don't need to do much cleanup out there. with a corner like this, there's no way I'm going to take away the whole corner because we're using these blocks both sides, front and back. And when we're using the other side, flipping it over, if there's nothing in the corner, the block wibbles and wobbles while you're printing it. So as much as possible, we like to leave a space. And I'm going to leave, you know, following our 3-fingered rule, I'll be leaving that area. The printers can certainly print this without banging the corner, there'll be no pigment on it, and it will survive as a support back on the other side. We can't always do that because sometimes the blocks are small and the image goes right to the edge. But this one, no problem. Well, then be careful about, we get a registration mark at the bottom here. The one in this corner is okay, it's clear, I won't be coming anywhere near that. But this one, there's a registration mark here, and in the past I've ripped it off by mistake, so I've given myself a note, Dave, be careful, don't bugger up the registration mark. Okay, not cheeking the camera. before I met some of the craftsmen here, before I met Ito-san, or the old carver, and also before I had a chance to see old blocks a lot, I didn't have a chisel like this. I used to do this work with a tiny little where is that? I still got it. So, this little 6mm ice skate, I used to do all this work with this damn thing. It took me a freaking million years. I don't know, I was just not so smart. I didn't make the connection that normal woodworking tools can be used. I was thinking that only specialized, printmaking tools. Whatever, wood carving is wood carving. Worked out well, the Hokusai kept the design. He kept the design away from my registration marks, so it's working out perfectly. There won't be any need to brush pigment in this area, so the marks will stay clean. This last TV program that we filmed, this Tuesday, Friday and Saturday, we filmed this program. One of the stops in the filming, we went to Hokusai's grave. I haven't been here for a few years, As part of the planning for the program, he heard about the episode where, I got in trouble with the Great Wave and went to Hokusai's grave and said, excuse me, and everything became okay, It's half fantasy, half real, whatever. Anyway, he heard about that. And he said, have you been recently? And I said, no, of course not. He's like, what do you mean, of course not? So as part of this program that we just finished on when was it? Tuesday afternoon? No, Friday morning. We went out again to the temple near here. It's about a 10-minute walk. The temple near here, where Hokusai's grave is. And, got a chance to say hello again. Pretty small shelf. I know, you mean here, we don't need, the bigger it is, the more trouble it is. This is just it. I've cut it 1 centimeter. The thing is, when the paper is going down on here, I don't know when you're printing, blah, 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 and then the paper's going in, a big shelf is trouble because you don't know where on the shelf you want to go. You want actually as small and as tiny a shelf as possible because it's just one, the pen, the pencil, whatever, it's just one point on that paper. It's that one point that becomes your registration mark. Click. So that's all you need is a really small piece. You get in trouble if the paper is big and heavy and it's a small landing, then you might bang it and you might disturb your paper this way. So you gotta be careful about that. This one, just about 1 centimeter. Most of them are not even that long. Oh, there's the TV program that was on last night. So no, we don't need a big shelf. Bigger shelves don't help us. We use that in the party room because the beginners need a huge landing zone to come in and try and, find. But we ourselves, we don't want a big landing zone. Yeah, exactly. Print, party, print, party, print, party, print, party. Those amateurs. Here we are. This is Kawai-san's show. So we're nearly at the end here. I've got this last corner to do. Let's just whack this out. Talked to the shutter guy again yesterday. It's all confirmed. Tuesday's delivery day. They're going to be here in the morning. They're going to scrub the shutter to within an inch of its life, de-oil it, sanitize it, do whatever they need to do. Then they're going to spend a few hours putting the strips on that make the new image. So Tuesday evening I'll be able to take some pictures, and Wednesday morning stream we'll be able to show you our new shutter, a new shutter design. It cost me an arm and a leg, 2 arms and a leg, and the only people who are going to see it are drunks walking down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning. Who cares? Hello, good morning, good morning. Another day gets started, the show. Okay, it's going to be time to sign off here. You can see where we're at with this. All the noisy stuff's done now. I'll take the, the smoothing chisels and I'll go around the edge now. This is the ocean, and I take off the last bumpy parts. And that will be it. This block is ready for printing, ready for proofing. And it's now in a safe for work. Okay, sorry to miss the conversation here at the end if there was any. Coating gum. Close. Close. Not quite, but close. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Tomorrow morning, as I said, tomorrow morning stream will probably be on the 3rd floor. A not so long, not so interesting stream. You can watch me put glue on a piece of wood and stick it in a press. That's probably what's going to be happening tomorrow morning. But as always, stand by to see what else happens. See you then. Thanks for watching in, guys. Sorry about all the noise. I think there's been some interesting stuff in the middle there anyway. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. And now, a cup of coffee and a chocolate scone. Some breakfast. He's laughing. Why are you laughing? What did you have for breakfast? What did you have for breakfast? Okashi. Koizumi's laughing at me for my breakfast. He just grabbed a snack at the convenience store on the way over here too. Okay, anyway, out we go. Bye-bye.